this afternoon and to talk a little bit about sports and life and how I think they connect. As a journalist, I'm going to fulfill my given role and probably provide a bit of counter-programming. Sports is in some ways a difficult and challenging topic for a gathering like this because on a basic level, sports consists of games, races, competitions, who can score the most points, who can run the fastest, jump the highest. It's child's play, right? Something that perhaps we will or should put aside as we move on to more important business. When I was invited to speak here, it got me to thinking about what sports has meant in my life. I've sort of had three stages of engagement with it. First was probably pretty typical. It's what I would call boyhood fascination. From early childhood through high school, I spent insane amounts of time either playing sports in the schoolyard, in backyards on organized teams, or daydreaming about when I could play next. We played whatever sport was in season, although sometimes that took some effort. Just saying this makes me feel ancient. But in the wintertime, we actually shoveled snow off outdoor basketball courts and played in gloves, if you can imagine that. In the spring, when I should have been paying attention in school, I would peer out the classroom window on high alert against any rain cloud that might be moving into the area. I didn't want my afternoon baseball practice or game to get washed out, and thought I could prevent that just by keeping my eye on what was going on out there. God knows how many SAT points I may have lost doing that. By the time I reached college, this obsession with sports, the fact that it filled up my whole being, my whole spirit, began to feel a little silly. Thus began what I'll term my second stage of engagement. I decided that sports were not terribly significant. I still played pickup basketball and softball. I followed my hometown teams, but I imagined myself a serious young man, and sports did not seem worthy of serious thought. But you know what? That wasn't quite on the mark either. Sports is one of the ways we understand life. It's a place, a good place, to work things out. We grapple with life through stories, and sports provides some of the best of them. My presentation today was given the title, Capturing the Moment, but it could also have been called Capturing the Person or the Athlete, because that's what I have done for a couple of decades. Because the very thing that we admire about them, the vast talent they've been granted, combined with their single-minded focus, does not leave room for much else. They give everything they have to their craft. They give to us, their fans, but not always elsewhere. So there's one question about life presented by sports. What are you willing to give up for your passion? To be great in your chosen field? Believe me, it's not as easy as you think. It's not just time that you might have to give up in pursuit of greatness. It's balance. In sports and in nearly any other realm you may choose, the law, medicine, science, public service, journalism, the arts, great achievement almost always comes with a cost. The flip side of this is that these people, these great athletes, inspire us. They show us what it is to strive, to push for excellence, to reach beyond what seems possible. They show us the outer limits of what humans can do, what the most gifted among us may be capable of. That is, if they are willing to pay the cost, the human cost. I want to tell you about, that's one question posed by sports, but there are many others. I want to tell you about one of my most recent stories. I traveled to South Africa to spend time with Oscar Pistorius. He is the so-called Blade Runner. In both of his lower legs, he was born without a fibula, the bone that runs alongside the tibia. So his lower legs, because they were useless, were amputated at the knee when he was 13 months old. He runs with prosthesis made of lightweight carbon fiber against able-bodied competition, the Usain Bolts of the world, who he may compete against in the 4x400 meter relay, to give one example. But might Pistorius have an unfair advantage? Some people, including well-regarded scientists, say he does. How can a man with no biological lower legs have an advantage in a running race? It's a fascinating question. It's a scientific question. It has implications well beyond sports into areas relating to biological, chemical, and genetic enhancement. We push ourselves playing the games, and we come to some real-life discoveries playing and being active in the games. But what I want to leave you with is this thought. Your playing days will be over at some point, hopefully a long time from now. But the discoveries do not end. To be a person who regards and celebrates sports in all its complexities, a thinking fan, as it were, an engaged spectator, is well worth it. I think that is what we can see from so much of the programming here today, and from some of the things that I've talked about. There is nothing about sports that does not connect to the rest of our lives. It is a safe way and a good way of looking about who we are in this world. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this great program.